And we're live.
Oh, great.
Thank you for joining me.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
If you could just come into the mic a bit.
A little bit
Sorry,
closer.
I know, yeah. It's there's so much echo in the room, so if you're far away, then it's annoying when I'm editing. But everyone drifts away. That's a podcaster's nightmare.
Yeah, I'll get nice and close.
So yeah, you're busy just now at the Fringe Festival.
Yeah, very busy.
I mean, I had on a few comedians. And
Oh, yeah?
They're busy, but it seems like you're taking it to the next level.
Thing is, the show that I'm doing is just very, very physical.
Yeah.
So, I don't want to take anything away from a comedian, but I'm literally burning like 1,000 calories plus a show. So it takes its toll. You know?
Man, you must sleep so well at night.
I'm like out. I don't sleep much because I'm just, putting in the hours. Like I reply to everything always online. So it just takes me and now I get, we're doing this thing where we give out cards at the end of the show, which are basically like thank you cards.
Yeah.
And in my curtain call at the end, I tell people to drop me a text and tell me what they thought of the show.
That's cool.
So I just get countless texts and then I reply to every single one.
It's not just the show. It's obviously everything around it.
It's what is building me leverage in the long term and collecting data and invested in my future, basically.
It's crazy. Do you think that's a new thing that's come along with doing Fringe, like the festivals in general?
I think the festival is stuck in 2005.
Right.
And I think what I've tried to do, one of the things I've tried to do this year is prove that you don't have to do all the things that you should do and win.
Right.
So I don't have a single poster up. I don't have a single billboard up, a single flyer. And I've sold out every show. And I've added more shows and I'm going to sell them out as well.
Wow.
And it's because it's 2018 and there's all these free tools to connect with people, and people need to start getting their head around how to use them to make what they're good at and what they can do a business.
Yeah. You don't really see posts from who's the one guy that runs the Fringe? You don't really see any media posts. It's all the artists.
The Ed Fringe has a page. Do you know what I mean? But the problem with the Fringe is it's a market that forms from God knows where very quickly and then disappears into thin air.
Right.
So it's just a difficult market to understand and to effectively promote within. So that's the first piece of the puzzle, really. But I just got super grassroots with it. I was like, who's going to the Fringe this year? Literally, go to Facebook, go to the Ed Fringe page, 5,000 people attending. Yeah. And I sat there and I started DMing all of them.
Yeah. So it's kind of...
it's like I've outsold everyone in my venue.
Right.
And people... sort of well, what did you do? What's the secret? It's literally, mate, it's just hard work. It literally is I get up earlier and I send hundreds of messages to people, and as long as you're a nice person and respectful, people are nice.
And this is the first time we've met, and we've been going over Instagram. And you just seem really active on Instagram, and you're always speaking to people, and whoever message you, you always seem to be replying to what they're saying.
Of course, man. If you're ever at the point where you're oh, I'm too important to speak to this person or that person, what? Do you know what I mean? It's the other way around. I'm just so humbled when I look at my phone and I've got 30 texts. I'm just it's unreal to me that anyone even comes to my show.
It's such a great tool to use, and I think the way I've seen you marketing is the way a band would do it back in the 70s.
Do you know what? I'm so glad you said that, right? Because what I've done is I've gone, I don't want to be a typical actor who is waiting for opportunities. And I actually looked at music artists and I was like, the challenge for me is I do one person plays, right? Which, generally speaking, that form has a crap reputation. Okay. If you go, do you want to come to my one-man show? People are like, probably won't. It sounds terrible. Because a lot of them are weak, right? So
because it's based solely on that person that's playing in it, and if they're weak,
it's all or nothing.
There's no one else to depend on.
It's all or nothing, big time.
I mean, the background and the script can be amazing, but as we know in movies itself, if the actors are shit, it's not going to take off.
Yeah, man. But what I've done is I've gone, you know what? I can, like, the first 5 years of my career, I came out of drama school and I just flailed about doing a bit of this and a bit of this and a bit of that. And you can't, in a hyper congested market, you can't do that and win.
Yeah.
And I happened to stumble across doing a one-person play. And then I was like, oh my God, this is actually what I'm good at.
Right.
All my strengths are heightened and all my weaknesses don't really matter too much.
Right. That's such it's a crazy sort of thing to gravitate towards, though, a one-man play, you know. I didn't even know that was a speciality. I just thought
that's the thing, it isn't. That's the whole point. So, like, I'm trying to make it a thing. Like, I would love, in a few years' time, for some kid to be like, that's what I want. I want to do that thing. At the minute, it's, like, not really a thing.
Right.
Like, at least people might do a one-person play, but they don't, you know, it's not all they do.
Yeah.
But the
it's
irony
a side
is,
gig type thing.
Yeah, or just like, I'll do one of them and then I'll go back to doing films or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can just make it a thing that isn't like lame and naff, and
definitely seems like you're doing that though.
I think I am gradually, but I think the tipping point is when people actually come and see it, because, you know, I can post all day long about shows selling out and me, you know, training and all this stuff, but like until people come along, you just can't tell someone what it's like, and you can't even put a camera on it because it's not designed for that.
Yeah,
it's the atmosphere in the room.
Right. Okay.
And
yeah, because I've seen posts about it. I've seen a lot of reviews as well, and they all seem to be fantastic. You know, I'm going to come see it.
Oh, mate, please do. Yeah. Just let me know when you want to come, and we'll like get you a comp and reserve you a cool seat and everything.
It's like you're saying, it's a one-man play, and it's something that's alien to me in a way. So I would have
Same to like everyone. Like unless you're an actor, and even when you're an actor, like if you ask an average actor like what a usual one-man show is like, they'll be like,
yeah,
very hit and miss.
Yeah.
So
is there any like famous one-man shows?
Like, I've scoured the internet for people. There was one guy in America who was like specializing in them, but like I don't know where he is now. Like, this was the videos I found were from me a few years ago. Thing is, it's also like incredibly demanding.
Right.
Just physically, vocally.
Seems like you have to have a certain level of focus.
Oh, mate. But the thing is, my thing happens to be that. It's not like I was like, I want to do one-person shows. It was like, what am I good at? And then, so now I've practiced that form more than anyone else that I know, at least.
Yeah.
So I'll take anyone on in that form.
Okay.
Whereas I watch my work on camera or, you know, in a sketch or like all the other countless forms, and I'm like, you know, I can do them, but I can't ever be like all-time great.
Yeah.
Which is what is going to build my career and my leverage and fill bigger and bigger venues and more shows. And
so you've got ambition and direction in what you want to do.
Yeah, it's just a scaling issue. It's like, how do you it's the same with anyone. How do you take what you're doing and scale it up and make it profitable enough to live, first of all, to survive off, so that then you can just put everything into it and it get even better, you know?
And that's the main issue, is trying to survive. And a lot of people that 100%. Are doing even just any part of the Fringe, these people are just trying to survive.
100%.
And when that consumes a lot of your day-to-day, it's hard to have the ambition to get past that. But if you have that in your mindset, then that's going to something that you're going to reach for.
100%. I think it sort of comes down to, what would you do all day and not consider it work? And this is it for me.
Yeah.
So like, these crazy hours I'm working are not work.
Yeah.
I would literally, I do it for free.
Yeah.
It's like, not even like I would. I do. But it's interesting, the shift that's happening, because I sort of committed to this about 18 months ago, and I brought a show last year, and there was like 3 people in the audience, and I had sort of stayed at the grind, and towards the end it sort of caught on a bit.
Right.
And then I committed to like Instagram stories and upping my Twitter game and all that stuff, and just going at it hard. And to put it in perspective, last year we'd pre-sold 70 tickets before the Fringe.
Right.
This year, I pre-sold over 1,000.
That's an insane markup.
And yeah, we pre-sold 40% of our tickets, to the point where the Pleasants were like, "How are you doing? How are you doing this?
What's your story?"
So,
but they can look on Instagram and see exactly what you're doing.
I know, but no one does, because like businesses, especially at the Fringe, are just like stuck in the past. Like they're more bothered about the flyers they've got stood on the corner, whereas I'm running targeted Facebook ads to history enthusiasts because I know my play is about World War II. It's not rocket science. It's just efficiency.
Is it a frustration that a lot of people that are artists in the Fringe are experiencing, do you think, or is it...
What do you mean? Which?
Just the frustration of them being stuck in 2005, the Fringe itself.
They don't realise.
Right.
No one realises. That's why I'm cleaning up, because everyone looks at a thing that exists at the Fringe and goes, this is how it works. Mm-hmm. And no one's going, what can we do in 2018 that we couldn't do 5 years ago? And if I do that, how do I beat everyone else? Yeah. And there's literally nobody that I've met doing it.
Seems like you're gaming the system.
Literally, mate. It's
or just using it.
I just want to like grab people and be like, why are you paying somebody £10 to £15 an hour to stand on the corner in the rain, who doesn't care about your show, and nagging people who don't want to stop to come into your show on the off chance, whereas I'm running a £5 a day Facebook ad to the exact person that's going to be interested in my show, and they come. It just doesn't make sense. The thing is, like, just to be very clear about this, I'm not saying that flyering doesn't work, and I'm not saying that if you rock up to the Fringe with 50 people in your choir that you can't win that game. Yeah. I only want to play in games I can win. Yeah. Right? So that's what it is.
Gambling or poker. You know, you
only where do I have
an
edge?
Yeah.
You know? And so I think next year, hopefully if people listen to this, they might go, you know what? I'm going to tailor make my marketing strategy to my strengths in the areas that I can win.
That makes sense.
I mean, it's just logic. But the problem is, like, you know, a lot of artists, most artists at the Fringe are doing it themselves, and a lot of artists aren't business minded. But I would also say that if you're not, then find someone who is. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like anything I'm rubbish at, I just find someone who's really passionate about it. Yeah. And I surround myself with those people.
It's cool. Have you read? Is there this just something that you naturally gravitate towards? Have you read up on a lot of things like strategies and business? And
so like I've had a lot of ideas like floating around my head for a long time, and then I just sort of looked outside of my industry because I just thought this is just it's run by these gatekeepers who have designed a system to keep them. It's just like, you know, the world basically, but acting is very, very like old school in many ways. And then I just, are you aware of Gary Vee? Yeah. All right. So like I stumbled across Gary Vee, and like straight away I was like, holy shit. Like, am I allowed to swear, by the way? Mm-hmm. So I was like,
no, we're off air.
Too late now. Holy shit. Like,
Davina McCall, please do not swear.
Yeah. I started listening to him, and although I don't agree 100% with everything he says, he was making a lot of interesting points that I'd never really thought about, and like I'd had those ideas floating around in my head for a long time, and it just helped me like align those ideas. And then I had to. The problem is when you hear someone like Gary, or someone who's a very forward-thinking person in marketing in a general sense. Right. It's taking that and translating it to your area, which is difficult.
It's hard, yeah.
Yeah, so that is just an ongoing process, and I'm sort of refining my thinking on a lot of stuff. But I just think of all the industries, mine is so far behind.
Yeah. There is the sort of idea that because it's sort of an open book when it comes to there's no rules for the one-man play type thing, do you think that's easier for you to capitalize on it if you are 100%, great?
100%. First of all, it's a business model that works. There's almost no cast. I use no set. I use like a couple of costumes, basic lights and sound. Straight away, I've eliminated all my costs and given myself a financial advantage over the guy in the next theatre who's got a cast of 5 all on equity rates. Yeah. Right? So that's the first thing. Also, like, because it's just me and I don't have to wait for other people to rehearse, I can put in more hours and therefore, as long as I'm at a certain level of talent, come out with a superior product due to being able to physically put more hours into the development process.
And people just assume that if you're talented and it's a great show, that it will speak for itself, but there's all the other stuff that goes behind it, you know, and it's so crazy.
I can break down exactly how we've filled every show, and it starts with...
Are you listening, Fringe people?
Oh, mate, honestly, like, this is such a good conversation because, like, this will be so useful to, like, share. But it all starts with creating a product for the Fringe environment that will commercially sell, right? So... First of all, that might immediately have a load of people going, ugh, because it's commercial has like a bad connotation to it almost. Like it's almost like the opposite of art.
Yeah.
But like for me, I just found a story that was super personal, I was super passionate about, and it was commercial. Like they're not mutually exclusive.
Right,
and I think that's a danger.
Can you make them sort of work together? Or is it just you have to find these nuggets where...
What do you mean? Can you make...
Like you're saying they're not mutually exclusive.
Yeah.
But you found something that was compatible.
Yeah, but
together.
I searched for that. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't like I thought long and hard about what story I might want to do or I might want to get to write it, or do I want to write it myself? Like And then my dad happened to mention my great uncle, and I was like, tell me more. Yeah. And I was like, this is just a no-brainer.
Right.
But even at that point, like I could have taken that and done a crap flyer, and rubbish artwork and terrible branding and not being clear in my message, which is another common mistake across the board at the Fringe, and it just not sell. Do you know what I mean? But like, I was extremely this is before the show even existed, right? So I went, okay, this is a World War II thing. How do I make this crystal clear and appealing to the demographics that I know are going to be interested? So I literally printed off every well-known World War II film poster ever. Put them across my wall and literally went, what are all the common elements in these? Moody sky, guy looking off into the distance. Like literally, You
just made like a collage of all these things. That's so cool.
Yeah. So and then I found a photographer friend who was really great. We took a picture in our kitchen, and I learned Photoshop, and
you learned the skills to do it. Yeah.
Like there is literally no excuse. Like what? Oh, I can't do this. Yeah. Mate, go on YouTube. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. If you've got a brain, you can learn it. I promise you.
Yeah. And if you don't, then someone will, and you can get them in.
Man, like we're living in the most amazing time. Yeah. Like, you can do anything you want. You know what I mean?
That's crazy.
So it started with that, right? And then I was like, okay, once the clarity is there, strong imagery, a cool title, a sentence along the front which literally just says what it is. Yeah. Which should be on every single Edinburgh flyer. Yeah. Because it's just criminal. You're like, oh, that looks cool. No idea what it is, right? So I did that, and then I was like, okay, where a lot of older people are going to be interested in this. Right.
Is that your demographic? Yeah.
Yeah. That's one big percentage of my demographic.
And they're not really catered for too much in the Fringe either, that sort of
especially with new stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And stuff that isn't like snoozy.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, where are these people? Like, how do I find these people? And, although the fastest growing demographic on Facebook is the older people, most of the people who are pre-booking to come to the Fringe are using the brochure. Yeah. Right?
Okay.
So I punted £1,500 on a big ad in the brochure, which I wouldn't have done if my show was young and edgy and cool.
Okay. Yeah.
Necessarily.
Okay.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Unless it was like Train Spotting or something. Like if you've got a brand that's instantly reliable, it's the best investment you'll make.
Right.
But if it's just some new play and you don't really know what it is, and like it's just a waste of money.
Right. Okay.
So that was the first thing, and then literally I've got a graph. The day the brochure comes out, we're doing like 15 tickets a day straight away.
Okay.
Right.
That's quite a few, isn't it?
Oh yeah, because it was just I took so much time on it. Also, the other thing I did was my first year, which was last year, I crowdfunded £7,000. 2,000 of that I spent on PR.
Right.
Got all the reviewers in, plucked all the quotes, all the stars, not for last year, for this year,
right?
To plaster it all over that.
Yeah.
So the steps are: do I know what it is? Yeah. Does it look good? Yeah. Do I trust the people doing it? Yeah. Sold.
It sounds like he went to business school as opposed to theatre, but it's cool. It's cool.
It's just logic.
Yeah.
So that was like, that's the core and remains the core. Like every single day, we're selling over 100 tickets a day now, and
it completely is like a one-man show. Like you're running the whole thing.
Yeah, man.
And doing all the promoting and doing all the statistics.
But it's like, if you commit to it, then you will end. If you do it right, you'll end up selling enough tickets to be able to just do that, right? Which is the whole point. So it's like, and then you get an advantage because you're not working a day job because you know what I mean. And so it's just the commitment, but that core remains. And now it's interesting. I have someone go down the queue every day outside the show, ask them where they came from.
All right. Okay.
So every day, the balance is very, very gradually moving from, I saw the ad in the brochure, like I saw, to word of mouth.
Right.
And the social media is always a consistent percentage across. Right. You know,
and that's a great sign if it's word of mouth. Eventually,
eventually, in theory, it should grow exponentially, and word of mouth should be a bigger and bigger percentage, which it is. That's the pattern I'm seeing. But the social media thing is the other mistake I think people are making is that they spend a year making a show behind closed doors, and then they go, "I've made a show. Right? Do you want to come?" And everyone goes, "What? What is it?" Yeah. I document everything I'm doing. By the time the tickets go on sale, people are so invested and seeing the countless hours of hard work that, of course, they buy it for a tenner.
Makes sense, yeah. Because they know it's worth it.
Because they've seen me running to get my shoes down the cobblers and, and you know, sprain my ankle doing movement stuff in the park in the rain. Like, there's never been a cooler time for hard work. Yeah. And showing that hard work is a massive, massive plus. And like, I don't worry about all the standard actor stuff anymore. I don't worry about my headshot or any of that crap that's designed to keep us all in our place.
Yeah. But do you think that's something that, because you're so confident in the actual play itself, that you don't have to worry about it?
I'm confident in my ability in that form because of self-awareness.
Right. Okay.
It could be anything. Yeah. It could be devising with ukuleles. And if it was, I would be doing that full steam.
And I would be watching it because it sounds amazing.
Yeah. I know.
It's your next it's your show for next year.
I wish it was that. Do you know what I mean? It's not, I think this is the thing, like, it's not, all you're doing is doing the thing you're good at. Yeah. And like, you're good at this, I'm good at one person plays. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Like, and you do something you like a lot and you're happy, and that's essentially that's what we're doing, isn't it? It's like, if we can make enough money to live and be happy, then it's the dream.
Yeah. No, that's it.
So that's all we're doing.
It's about being happy. Yeah.
But I think it sounds counterintuitive to commit to one very specific thing, but actually I get more opportunities in the other areas. Yeah. Now that I've committed to this, because every time someone sees me act, I'm at full strength.
Right, okay. Yeah.
So I'll do little things in features and stuff like that because someone sees me in my play and they go, "Oh, of course he can do 3 lines." Whereas if I'd have sent a tape, I would have been the same as everyone else.
Totally. Yeah, there is a lot of sort of old school way of actually trying to promote shows, and it's when the way you're talking about how you do it, and when I see these people on the street, it just makes it look sort of prehistoric in a way.
It is prehistoric.
And it's kind of sad to see that, but then that probably makes it all the better for you to be able to get these people in. But do you think
I would prefer a paperless market,
right?
That is a lot more efficient because it would be beneficial to the fringe. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like,
and the environment.
Yeah, the environment, the fringe. Like, think of that fringe where there's not tens of thousands of flyers everywhere, and you don't get nagged everywhere you go. And if you do, it's by people who've had to develop the skill of actually just talking to someone, because we don't give out all these flyers. Yeah. Because at the minute, it's brainless. Shove this bit of paper in someone's hand. You've just interrupted my conversation. You know?
Yeah, there's even the people that are from Edinburgh just despise this time of year because of, you're trying to get from A to B. and there's someone there just gormless handing out a flyer without any sort of interaction. So you're just getting thrusted something in your face, and that's it. You know, and then you're not going to bother reading it. If someone came up to me and spoke to me, you know, and has the awareness to know when to speak to someone and when not to, you know, that would be more sort of one-on-one, and it'd be great.
It's panic tactics, isn't it? And also, like, logistical problems. Like, if you're a producer who has 5 shows, I understand you can't stand on the corner and chat passionately about all your shows. You need to employ a team of people, but
there must be people within that company that are passionate about what they're doing. If not, you know,
think so.
That's representative of your show. If they're handing out flyers and just look like they're unhappy, you know, that's not a good.
Yeah, it's
that's
just
not
literally detrimental.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like that's the first port of call with that show.
It blows my mind. The other thing that blows my mind is when I see like a billboard in some corner alley that no one ever goes, and when they do, they walk past scrolling through Instagram on their phone. It's like you've paid £1,000 for that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Whoever sells those billboards is laughing.
Yeah, totally. That's free money.
But I'm just hoping that some people will look at what I've done this year and
see it as a template.
At least it's just a conversation. It's just like, at least ask how and if we can roll this out across the board and just make things better for everyone. Like, I've already had that conversation with the Pleasants. I literally said to them, like, bring me in next year. I will sit down with every single company and I guarantee you I will boost your sales by 20, 30, 40, 50% across the board.
It seems like you should be selling this stuff. You know, it's nuggets of gold. You know, you should be prepping people for the Fringe and being like, this is how you do it. Just do this, follow that.
I know.
Because people love that type of thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, mate, like, I don't feel comfortable going down the road of being like, oh, I'll charge someone £500 to be a consultant. Like, I just want to do my thing.
Okay.
Provide value to others who want to do their thing.
Right.
And look at my ticket sales.
Yeah.
Like, I get that, like, that value. First of all, it's like the right thing to do. I feel great helping people out all the time. And I don't ever feel like dirty about, because I can just tell you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It's no effort for me to tell you this, and I don't really want to charge money for it.
Yeah.
But like, the more I gain a reputation for kind of being a bit more forward thinking than the competition, so to speak.
And you're leading by example.
Yeah, I'm leading by example. I'm reaping the benefits of that without charging anyone for anything.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's cool.
I just want to scale up. Like, if I've helped you out, you know, come to my show, but I'm never going to ask you.
Yeah.
If you come, you come. It's just, if I help out 2,000 people in a year, more people are going to come than if I help out 5.
Okay. And to you, what is scaling up? Like, what would be the sort of...
A few ways.
Yeah.
There is bigger venues, although I would want to maintain the intimacy because it's an important part of what I do.
Yeah, an integral.
But you can still go up to like a few hundred and not have people sat that far away.
Right.
More shows, different shows in different venues, multiple shows. Like, tomorrow I'm doing 2 shows because we've added more.
I saw that people were asking for more tickets for the show, and you had to add.
We're going to sell out the extra one as well.
Wow.
There was only a few left before I got here, so we'll sell out.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it
works.
It just like, it's not rocket science. Like, I'm almost sat here going,
yeah,
you know.
But it's just having that level of drive that a lot of people are missing.
I mean, it was honestly, like, it was a huge leap of faith to just go, you know what, everyone's wrong and I'm right. Do you know what I mean? Like that. But
if everyone's wrong and getting nowhere, you know, then it's, you know, you'd rather take a leap and be, you know, maybe right. But if you're right, then you're onto a winner, you know.
Yeah. And it's the hours, man. Like, the grassroots stuff is just purely numbers. Like,
right.
You DM 5,000 people on Facebook politely saying, I don't have any money for marketing. This is what my show's about. I've noticed that you work at a museum.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, 80% of the people literally don't even read it. But, like, the woman comes up to me 2 days ago going, oh, you sent me that message ages ago and we had I was like,
that's great.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you're just earning it.
Yeah.
It's not like, this isn't wizardry. This is just like, how much graft are you willing to put in?
Yeah. And it is a grind, you know, but everything is.
But but I absolutely love it.
Yeah. I mean, would you rather grind in a job that you'd absolutely despise, or grind in a job that you're loving?
Suffocated.
Yeah.
100%.
So, and to bring it back to the play itself, because it's something that we've not talked about.
Yeah.
How did it come about, and what's the story?
So, so my mum and dad came to the Fringe last year to see my previous play.
Okay.
And they really liked it, and I wanted to try and find something that I could do more with them.
Right.
You know, you just see your parents getting older, and you want to realize you should spend more time with them, and they're just so passionate and so supportive that I just you're like, what can I do?
Yeah.
And then my dad mentioned my great uncle, and my dad is actually a World War II like expert.
Right.
So he takes people like around the Normandy battlefields and things like that. So we got chatting about it. I delved into it, and the story is just so like unbelievable. I was like, this is so perfect.
Yeah.
And also, the play spans just over 5 years.
Okay.
And he passes away at the age of 33. I'm 34 now.
Right.
So I'm basically the closest living reference to him anyway.
Right.
And
it's your uncle this is based on, yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. So he there's things we know and things we don't know about his story, but essentially he joins up in Birkenhead after the Blitz happens. And he goes off to fight and gets captured by the Japanese.
Right.
And is detained in various camps for many years.
Wow.
So that's kind of the very quick synopsis.
Right. Okay.
It's a war epic.
Right.
You know, and the challenge was how to do it in an hour.
Yeah. Over the span of 5 years as well. Yeah,
but it's like the key is just to set the correct pace.
Okay.
You know, so
and keep it as well.
It moves. Yeah, and it moves, and so also like the way I'm playing it is there's sort of things that allow me to portray the journey of essentially a boy to a man in an hour.
Right.
Through acting, but also through the size of my costumes on different parts.
Right.
To create the illusion
that you're young.
That I'm young. You know, things like that.
That's cool.
And also, like, I lost 2 stone to do the role.
Wow.
So, which is like, just to go back to the marketing side, like that narrative of building the show, like, and I'm documenting that weight loss,
right,
continually. Mm-hmm. Like, it's just part of the narrative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. Yeah.
Because obviously, I wanted to portray him as accurately as possible, and I can't be a chubby prisoner of war, essentially.
You never trust a fat cook or a chubby prisoner of war.
Do you know what I mean? So that was necessary, and it also means that during the play I'm concealing my torso for as long as possible. Like, I start the play with 3 layers of costume.
Right. To give the
and
illusion.
I look normal.
Yeah.
So it's like there's one bit where 18 months passes in like a minute.
Right.
And I literally have to crumple down as if time is passing and I'm becoming more gaunt. And I was
in one scene.
Literally just like one during a voiceover.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, but it's doable because I've lost enough weight and because I've practiced to know with the lighting what bones will stick out more. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So presumably you're having to keep that weight off while you're doing the shows.
Mate, I'm struggling to stay this way. I burn so many calories.
Right. Okay.
It's so physical. I can just eat whatever I want, and I'm still losing weight.
Yeah, and I assume the Fringe sort of lifestyle is not a very healthy one.
I don't drink.
Right. Okay.
I don't do any of the stuff that everyone else is doing.
Okay. Yeah.
I treat it like I'm an athlete essentially.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I get up, I go to the steam room in the morning, sort my voice out, stretch. I have like massages, stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah, you've got to look after your vessel, I guess, when you're doing something that's based on yourself, you know.
But it's also just like, what is going to differentiate you from everyone else? I'm not on a jolly.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I'm here to provide an extremely good value product.
Mm.
And if I'm going out on the piss or any of that stuff, like, it's just...
Yeah.
It's just detrimental to my business.
How did you lose the weight? Did you follow
800 calories of cardio a day and eating fuck all.
Sure. How do you have the energy to perform when you're doing it?
I'm in the best shape of my life,
right,
bizarrely.
Okay. Yeah.
I was too heavy from what I can tell.
Right.
You know what I mean? I felt normal, but now I feel normal.
Right, okay.
And I feel really light on my feet, and I'm very, very fit, obviously, from doing the show.
Do you follow any special diets, or? I say special, but they're all
like
diets.
In the morning now. I just obviously I just eat as much as I can.
Okay.
And obviously loads of carbs and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm a fussy eater, but it's just more maths based, really.
Yeah.
It's
okay. Yeah, you're
how much am I
reducing your calories and by how much you expend at night, I guess, when you're performing.
Yeah, and I tell you what, losing that weight when you're losing that weight for the reason of portraying this person, and during that weight loss period, you are spending most of your day researching how horrendous it was for those men.
Yeah.
Not having that dairy milk doesn't bother me anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it's perspective. Yeah.
Perspective, man.
That's insane.
It was easy, honestly. I was like, what have I got to, like the stuff I'm reading, what have I got to complain about?
Yeah. Is there any accounts of what happened in these camps with your great uncle?
It's beyond horrendous.
Yeah.
Like, we have very limited information on his specific experiences, but there's a hell of a lot of information from men in these various camps at the exact same time who literally would have been with. And we have to sort of creatively fill in the gaps. So, for example, he was on a ship that arrives into Singapore as the Japanese start making their way down Malaya.
Right.
And on arrival, his ship gets attacked and sunk, right?
Wow.
So we know for a fact that he was on that ship and that he made it onto the land. I don't know
what happened,
the play-by-play, but what I do know is the countless accounts of men on that ship. And so I can take that information and responsibly build a plausible series of events. Yeah. So that there's that. Do you know what I mean?
No, and the research that you must have done going into this, especially about someone that you were related to, it must have made it all the more sort of connecting to the story.
Yeah. Honestly, like, it's almost been the reverse of most acting I've ever done, because when the script was first written, like, I was sitting in a coffee shop, like, reading it to my mates and stuff, and I literally couldn't even say it. I was just blubbering and I was a mess. And I've had to, like, become, just detach myself to a certain degree, just to be able to physically do it. And now you see the audience experience what I experienced back then, a few months ago. Yeah. And it's like literally afterwards, I'm like hugging, like sobbing people for like an hour.
Wow, that's crazy. And that is it. Older generations that their family have been in the war, or
the thing is, everyone's got someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if it's that great granddad you don't know much about, you're like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Because it was horrendous, mate. Like, the stuff is just like, it's terrible.
And it's just no wonder that people didn't come, when they came back, they wouldn't talk about something they would go through that.
100%. The other thing is, like, all the research, it was interesting. The play was very quick to write, because all the research I did was every diary, every video was so matter of fact.
Right.
Like, no one back then was like self-pitying like we do now. Yeah. They were just like, this happened, this happened, this happened.
Just the way it was.
Just the way it was.
Yeah.
And we live in this time now where we feel sorry for ourselves because we don't get likes on Instagram, and it's like, do you know what I mean? And,
totally.
And so writing it was almost like not very theatre-y, because normally in a play you're talking about how you feel and exploring these ideas and stuff. This is just straight up narrative for like 80%, and I have to add how I feel about it in the acting.
Right.
But they don't talk about how they feel.
Yeah, you've got no records of how they felt, because it was not something they spoke about it back then.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
You can only assume what was going through their mind at these points.
But say like you remove the concept of mental health, and you remove the concept of, talking about how you feel and all the stuff that we understand as things now. Yeah. they didn't even. It's not like they felt and they were like, we shouldn't talk about it.
Yeah.
They just literally didn't even consider talking about it.
Didn't cross their mind.
Didn't even cross their minds.
It's just the way that war was, you know.
It's just nuts, man.
It is a sort of a weird time, that war, specifically because it's one that we can see in sort of video. You know, there's parts of World War One that we can see, but not in the same way that World War Two was filmed.
Yeah, for sure.
And it was one that was devastating. World War One was, you know, there's no worse war, obviously, but horrific, some of the stories. But World War Two, you know, there was so many fronts that were going on, you know, and then we could see instantaneously. I think it was maybe the downfall of, I think Vietnam was the last war that people were like, no, we're not taking this anymore. It's not good to go and do these type of things. But World War II probably set that stage. I think people were just had enough of that type of thing happening in general, I guess. Maybe not governments.
I mean, we don't realize how lucky we are, man.
Yeah.
Like, look, what have we had to deal with in our lifetime, really?
And you had to go to war. You know, there was no way around it.
There was no men.
Yeah.
The dances, it was all the women were dancing with each other because there was no men.
Yeah. That's an insane sort of...
It's crazy.
Society that, for like 5 years, I guess, it would have been around that was just happening. And then people becoming of age when that 5 years was around as well. And then your kids presumably going off to war as well. That's just a sort of terrifying thought.
And we've just had it golden for so long, haven't we?
Yeah. But it seems like it's something that you feel like genuinely like you're connected to it.
Yeah, I'm not into like World War II stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, but I'm just passionate about telling this story that no one's heard.
Yeah.
Like, literally, like, this is just an untold thing that happened, and it's like, when I'm looking for like something commercial to sell, and I can make it that.
Yeah.
It's just the dream.
Yeah.
You know, and that's why being commercial it's not mutually exclusive.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be
art. Like, it just does. It's just not.
Yeah. Doesn't have to be a terrible thing that most people assume it is.
Yeah, it's like music. It's like, oh, that song's so commercial. It's like, well, that's also an achievement.
Yeah.
Like, understanding what the consumer wants.
Yeah. And providing that product.
Yeah, and doing it.
Yeah.
It's like, and it also gains you leverage.
Yeah.
To do your more arty product or whatever.
Have your parents seen the play yet?
My dad's up here. And so he watches it every day.
And they must be pretty proud.
Oh, my dad's just like loves it. He just loves walking around the Pleasance Courtyard, talking to everyone. Like, we've got no tickets to sell, so he would just trying to sell them.
Just got your dad going, well, come along to this, my son.
Yeah, he's like, there's some tickets on the 15th or whatever. But he's just obviously he's passionate about war stuff.
Yeah,
you know, it's his uncle, so it's like, yeah, it's great. And my mum is coming up tomorrow, actually. Cool. She's been at home looking after the dogs, and she wasn't going to come up yet, but she just can't help it.
Yeah.
She put them in kennels. She was like, oh, I don't want to put them in kennels because what if?
Yeah.
And now she's so jealous. She's like, get them in kennels.
Yeah, just put them in.
Yeah, just put them in, they'll be fine. So she's up tomorrow, which is great.
And that'll be good to see.
My mum's not seen it.
Right, okay.
So, like, it's going to blow her mind. Like...
Is it? I mean, you've obviously had years of training. You know, you went through theatre school, presumably. So, is it different when your parents are there in front of you and do you see them?
She's got a job to do.
Right. Okay.
You know, obviously you want them to enjoy it, but I'm not results orientated, and I just get the job done. Yeah. And it doesn't matter who's in the audience. Okay. Literally, it doesn't matter. Like, I tell people, like, I don't book in like reviewers and important folk. They inevitably come, even though I don't invite them.
If they see the buzz, you know, that's something that they're just going to come around.
Yeah, of course they are. But I would never change anything for them. Yeah. You know, because then what you're saying that the other shows aren't as important. Every audience member is equally important.
Have you had any mishaps yet while you're on stage?
Loads of stuff. Like, the first preview, I used one trunk with all my costumes in, and I ran over to this trunk after like 30 seconds of the first ever show, and the trunk was like shut. And I was like,
What, locked?
Oh, good God. What have we done? We've spent a year.
How do you act your way out of this one?
We've spent a year making this play, and we've locked the trunk by accident. Luckily, the key was hanging down a bit. I was like, it was like glowing in my vision.
Like it was in some game.
Like I was just like,
it was like in Pulp Fiction when they opened the suitcase and it's just the gold.
Literally, I've never, because moments like that.
Yeah.
There was one show where, you know, I got trapped in my shirt because the person who does the costume had buttoned the tighter of the two buttons up rather than the looser
right,
one.
okay.
You know, just stuff like
Small
that, which
things,
is like literally no one's fault, but it's like, you know, when you get through that show, doing the show the next day is so easy.
Right.
Because you're just like, there's literally, like, people coming in and out. My previous show, like, people would walk out, you know, there was a guy in one of the first shows with literally, as soon as it started, and I can't obviously stop and talk to the audience or tell him or whatever, he pulls out the biggest camera you've ever seen, with a lens, like a football lens, and just goes like all the way through in my face. Oh. And it was just like, what am I supposed to do?
Did you say anything? You can't break character.
He's gone and it's too late, and you just say to the venue, like, can you make sure
no one has a photo.
But we're in a lose-lose, because if someone runs over, he's on the front row and everyone starts looking. And
I mean, it's distracting and it sort of breaks the spell, so to speak, with the play that you're doing.
It's so interesting to me that, you know, you're doing this highly dramatic thing on stage, and yet a door opening is more interesting to everyone ever. Yeah. Like, it just is. And it's also because they're annoyed that this person is breaking, or they're intrigued. Or, you know, so of course. Even if they're on your side, they sabotage you because they want vengeance on the person.
Yeah, the person
but they're like, nah, look at me. If you want to help me, just keep looking at me.
They're more annoyed at this person opening a door in the middle of a very dramatic play.
Yeah, exactly. So it's... and, you know, Edinburgh is just nuts. Like, just in general, like, the noise is insane. Yeah. Like, someone was emptying bottle bins.
Tell me about it, man. The seagulls as well.
The seagulls.
Insane. Why are they still around? Like, and why are they protected?
You mean just, like, as a species?
Yeah, like, they're protected. They're not seagulls. They're cruel. Urban gulls. They're not anywhere near the sea.
Are they aggressive and, like, do they steal shit?
Oh, man, yeah. Like, you can hear them raiding the bins in the morning, and then they just randomly... They randomly squawk. Not for no reason. There's no predators on top of a roof, you know. They just squawk at anything.
That's funny.
And our road's pretty bad in the morning when they're emptying the bottles. It's just an insane noise, and it's
that happened during my show.
Really?
So, like, no one could hear me, basically.
Did you have to wait till they passed?
It's a judgment thing.
Right.
Sometimes I'll fight. Sometimes I'll wait.
Okay.
And sometimes I'll just ignore.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Is there still a level of superstition when it comes to theatres
no superstition.
now? No.
It's like, literally, mate, I'm too prepared for anything to...
Yeah.
Things go wrong every show.
Yeah.
And nobody realises.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I've worked too hard. I know exactly what I'm doing on every single point.
Too prepared. And you're not going to let anything take that away from you?
Nothing, mate. Yeah. Like, literally, I'm like... I literally couldn't be more ready.
Yeah. And then, do you still have to go over your lines before, or is it just...
Nah.
It's in
and I get my lines wrong every show.
Yeah.
But my tech person knows me and knows that if I muddle something up, she'll be able to tell whether I'm going back, whether I'm just going, you know what, fuck that bit up, let's move on. Like, in the way I'm doing it, she understands me.
Okay.
So it's an ongoing dialogue between me and her. So, because I'm either cueing her to do a light or a sound change, or she's cueing me. So, for example, there's a bit where a truck arrives, so I can't do anything until that noise happens,
right?
And I see the truck, right? Whereas on a change of scene, I'll turn to signal, well, we're now at the dance or whatever. So it's one or the other. It's binary. So, like, we're just doing that the whole show. Right.
So it's like a dialogue that's not really happening, but it's unspoken.
But it is, it's unspoken, but it's like really is happening all the time, and there's a lot of intuition in it.
Yeah.
And Nina is an actress herself.
Okay.
Which really helps because she understands what I'm doing.
Like the tempo as well, and when to do things. And
we refine every day, man. Like,
right.
I'm just it's never done, ever.
Yeah.
Like, and the aim is to have one show where both of us just nail every single thing.
Do you think it'll happen?
I don't know, but the game is the best bit. Like, the game is like just trying to make it happen is just the ongoing, like, I love it.
It's the same with musicians. There's always this ongoing trying to find tone, as we call it, like trying to refine your sound that you're when you're playing guitar or whatever, and you're always buying and adjusting, but you never find it. But it's always just like, well, this'll do, I guess. But you're constantly trying to keep it. But if you did,
like, then what?
Yeah. But would you know it when you found it?
Yeah, exactly. You might have already found it, man.
Found it like 5 years ago.
Yeah, that's the best you're gonna do.
Do you have a massive team behind you guys?
No, so I have like in Edinburgh right now. There's literally like my dad, who is buzzing around, selling the handful of tickets we have.
Cool.
I have a tech guy, Johnny, who. I basically went like, I need an explosion here, I need this here, I need this here, and then he'll come back with like, oh, what do you think out of these 5 explosions? And I'll be like, that one.
Does he press a button with like different explosions?
He literally gives me headphones, and he's like, these are the options, and like, for example, there's one bit where a bomb hits, but it hasn't hit the building I'm in. It's hit like 200 yards away,
right?
And so the kind of explosion is important,
right?
Because if it sounds like if I've literally been hit by it, as opposed to like it's out
close enough,
what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just like that's what he does really well. Is like he'll be very detailed on that sort of stuff, whereas I just know I need an explosion.
Yeah.
So it's a nice level of collaboration where because essentially I am ultimately selfish.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not willing to compromise on what I want to do. And it's like, to go back to that music thing, I never really spoke about that. I looked at those artists and I was like, I love the way that when they drop an album, like, they have that artwork the way they want it. They wear the right costume on stage. They choose, like, everything. They're not...
It's a decision. They're not just turning up and that's what they look like.
No. And that's what makes them them.
Yeah.
And they're not... Most of them, like... I think the most successful ones are doing it in a truthful way. Right. So like I'm not going, I want to appear this way.
Right.
It's inevitable. It's like I'm just tuning in on me.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's how it comes out, and it just happens to be the right thing.
And the truth is just like, you can't beat it, man. Like,
but you seem quite very, like you said before, you're very self-aware at the same time. Like,
I mean,
obviously a one-man show, that's all going to be about you. That's...
Well, the reason... Here's the zone that I live in, right? I have such a big ego that I truly believe that everyone should watch me for an hour. But at the same time, I'll never, ever show off, and I'll do it with absolute humility. Okay. And it's where those two things meet that is like the golden... area.
And it's another buzzword, ego. People assume that that's a negative thing to have as well.
It can be. Like, my ego has been a negative thing in the past. Like, when I've been in casts of people, like, even if I'm in the smallest role, like, it's hard for me to not think that that's the most important because I'm so passionate about it. Whereas
were you a tree in the nativity play? Is that why it pissed
like
you off?
Yeah.
It's like, I want to get back at all these people that made you.
It's my backstory.
That bloody tree.
Yeah. I still wake up in a cold sweat. The leaves.
You probably rocked it as well.
Yeah, mate, that was the best. But this form is like, it doesn't get more you than a one-person show. So, and it's just a challenge, man. Like, it's so infinitely challenging that I just love it. And the thing is, like, no one has to commit to something forever. Yeah. Like, in 2 years' time, I might end up doing a film and going, you know what, now that I am 36, this is the thing I want to do. It's just that it gives you absolute clarity and focus.
Right.
Like, all of my decision making is based around like moving towards selling out massive venues, doing this thing.
Yeah.
I either do it or I don't based on whether it aids that goal.
Cool.
And it's not like literal. Like,
yeah.
I'll do a commercial for a few grand
right.
because it buys me more time to put into rehearsing or
right.
whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But it makes decision making very, very clear.
Yeah.
Because you get tempted. You're like, oh, do you want to collaborate on this or this and this? And like, I finally got to the point now where I'm very, very brutal about it. Like, I might even want to do the other thing.
Right.
But I'm like,
you have to complete this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
It seems like you have immediate goals that are eventually going to help your long-term goals.
My long-term goal is very, very specific. It's literally to sell out a West End run of a one-person play that I've produced myself, right? Which sounds pretty insane. Mm-hmm. However, if you consider that 18 months ago I was doing 20 people in a tiny studio theatre, and now I'm doing sell out every single show.
Yeah.
It's a scaling thing.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah. You can't just jump from one to the other. You have to build your way up there, I guess.
Of course. And the slower that build is, the more gradual and the more time I take with my audience and build relationships with all of them and people like you.
Yeah.
It's just, here's the thing. Like, you can come out of drama school as an actor, be in the tiny percentile of people that get a top agent straight away, get into the best job in the world, and be at the National, and still no one knows who the fuck you are.
Yeah.
And the person who has the leverage in that situation is the agent. Right? I don't ever want to be in that situation. Right. I want my leverage. I don't want the venue to have it. I don't want anyone to have it.
It's your personal brand.
Yeah, man. It's like if I decide to do my next play in a back alley, you know, and I can sell 1,000 tickets with one tweet. Yeah. That's what I want.
Yeah.
You know, and that's going to build me a future.
Yeah. It's off your own back, you know, as opposed to just paying someone to, you know, wedge you into these shows. Or of
course. And the thing is, like, there's people who will come up to the Fringe this year and sell out every show because they made it into, like, the Guardian's pick of top shows or whatever. And they have zero leverage.
Right. That'd be a scary position to be in as well.
Yeah, so, like, say you've absolutely smashed it this year, but you've smashed it because you got lucky with something like that.
Yeah.
What the hell do you do the next year?
Yeah.
Like, you know what? That might gain you some leverage. Like, people might see you and come back and see you again, but, like,
there's no longevity.
Yeah, it's like the slower the rise, like, the more stable you are, you know?
You're building a firmer base around you.
Oh, man, such a solid foundation.
Yeah. And it seems like it's only going to help you in the long run.
Of course. And everything's long term, like everything.
Have you never been tempted to do a movie? Has it ever came up?
I mean, it's not that simple, really. Like, it's not like I can just, like, ring up Spielberg and be like,
hey, you know, you could very well make your own one on YouTube.
Well, but this is the thing, right? If it was movies that I thought I could be all-time great at being, like, dramatic roles in films, gritty indie films or whatever, I'd go and do that.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, like, I've done a couple of little bits in films and stuff. I have friends that I've met through this stuff, like, that direct movies and have those relationships. It's just not something that I am actively pursuing, you know. I just don't consider myself as high up the pecking order as I do within my house.
Right.
Like, it's my house. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I haven't met anyone who spends as many hours doing this thing, and I would love to. Like, I would love to meet the guy whose one person show I go to, and I'm like, holy shit, how did he do that?
Yeah.
You know.
And what would happen if you met someone like that?
Oh man, I would sit down and I would share knowledge.
Right.
Like, I believe in open source information. Like, if you're hanging on to your knowledge about stuff, it's insecurity.
Yeah.
I'll tell any actor everything I know about what I do.
Okay.
And they won't be able to do it because it's not their thing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I could sit down with the greatest stand-up of all time and he could tell me exactly how he does it and I won't be able to do it.
Because you don't have anything to apply it to.
Yeah, and I won't put in the hours and it's not who I am.
Yeah.
It's the truth of who I am.
Sometimes when people are honest like that and are open, it can be quite disarming to people. You know, they can feel sort of threatened even by you being, you know, open. So then they would be like, well, I'm not going to follow those.
All of this is initially scary.
Yeah.
because you have to get really fucking honest with yourself. To say that you're not good at something that you really like doing is hard.
Yeah.
But the sooner you do it, the sooner you'll be happier, because you'll be able to do the thing you are good at fully, and it will bring you joy.
Yeah.
So like, that's it, man. Like, there's so many people who'd love to be amazing at like playing football or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But go play football with your mates, and then come home and do for your job the thing that you are brilliant at, and I promise you'll be happy.
Do you think there can be something that you are amazing at but don't enjoy? You know.
Yeah. So when I left school, I turned professional at playing rugby.
No way. Really?
Yeah. And I hated it. So yeah.
And you just...
That's a tragic correlation,
right,
isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because I knew that people would have killed to be in that position.
Right.
But it just wasn't for me. So yeah, I definitely firsthand can tell you that is a thing.
But do you think that was you on your natural skills with it, or was it something...
I was at a school where rugby was really important. I excelled. I worked really hard at it.
Yeah.
Because that's what you did. And I was 18 and, you know, I'd never been in a theatre. So how would I ever know?
Yeah.
And then, you know, you get caught up in the hype of being offered contracts and stuff, and you sign one, and then the reality sets in that essentially you're getting the shit kicked out of you every day for not a lot of money. And all your mates are ringing you from uni pissed. And you're like, I'm going to go do that now.
Yeah, it is a bit of a distraction at that age, though. You know, that is what is weird about doing those types of things in life, is you're supposed to sort of put everything at such an early age, and it's so important for later on in your life, and then you just don't realize at that point.
You don't know, man.
You don't. You have nothing to sort of correlate it to.
I stumbled, like...
You have no life experience.
I took a random punt that I might like acting.
Right.
And it turned out to be the thing that I genuinely believe that I'm best at in this whole, you know...
Right.
Out of everything. Which might not be true. Do you know what I mean? Like...
I doubt it, though.
There's a guy out there right now who is the world's best at opening doors, and he doesn't even know it. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? But that's amazing.
In what sense? Like lock picking?
You know what I mean? It's just, like, you know, it's
a guy at the bottom of a hotel that's like, opens the door.
He just does it with more style. With more style. As soon as you're drilling me on this.
Seems like an American thing.
But you know what I'm saying.
No, totally, yeah. It makes sense. I was trying to just pin you down on what you were saying.
But yeah, like that, I really like that as a thing.
Yeah. There's something for everyone.
I think that a lot about sport. So I think about, like, look at like a lot of like the basketball players, for example, like they, because of their physique, instinctively, or because of their schooling or whatever, they end up going down that road.
Or social pressures as well.
Think of how good the USA's football team would be.
Yeah.
It would be insane.
Yeah.
You'd have Shaq in goal. You know, like you'd have these wingers that were like, do you know what I mean? So,
no, it would be a whole different, but it's just obviously where the focus is on in the company, well, it is a bit of a company, the America, but the country, you know, they're not focused on something like that. The whole thing is basketball and American football.
Yeah. Or being a rapper or whatever.
Who was it? There was someone that was 100 meters champion, and he went on to do rugby.
Yeah,
Did you see that guy?
Whacked him on the wing.
Yeah, he was insane.
Yeah,
he didn't have the size, but he was just
they just give him the ball. Like a Forrest Gump situation.
It's like run, whoever his name was. It's insane. Like he was just past everyone. I think he was an American sprinter.
Yeah.
And they brought him to the UK.
Like, yeah. I mean,
that's game in the system, though.
yeah. But it's just interesting, isn't it? Like the only thing we're all doing in life is trying to find our place and happiness, essentially, and match, and, you know, being able to throw yourself into passionately, like, the thing that you're great at is just like that. I just wish everyone could, like, do it. And like I'm still broke, do you know what I mean? But I know that it's coming.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I'm working so long term and I can see the rise already. So it's just about surviving and being patient and putting in the hours, man.
But just to sort of preface what I'm getting to here is, I think it's hard for the day-to-day people, because they're trying to struggle with life and trying to find something that you enjoy, and are great at. It's hard when you're trying to survive.
100%.
But at the same time, you're saying you're broke, but you're also doing what you're enjoying.
Yeah, but like I'm eating cereal. I'm eating cereal a lot of the time.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
what kind?
Mate, literally the cheapest. The cheapest.
Two stripe cornflakes.
Other people's.
The one you get at your hotel.
Yeah, the free samples. Yeah, man. I just think it's like.
It's tough. If you see past that, though.
Of course it is. Of course it's tough. But like, you know, to go back to Gary Vee for a second, like something that he goes on about a lot is, you know, how badly do you want it? Like, if you've got to get up and go and do your day job all day, like, we have these phones that you can do literally everything on. Like, there's dead time. Like, you're on the bus, you're sitting on the loo. Like, you can run a business, and if you can figure out how to put enough time into that to tip the balance into making it enough profitable enough around the thing that you love to eventually not have to do the boring thing. Like, that's the dream. Do you know what I mean? And like, I'm still in that transition. Like, you know, there's times where I have to go and work some thing I don't want to do, but like,
you know, it's for the bigger picture.
Oh, mate, like, I just wouldn't change it for the world.
And it's people are so used to having like immediate gratification, and I think that's one of the troubles with a lot of social media. But if you just use these tools wisely and appropriately and get past that immediate gratification,
the thing is,
then you can sort of build the foundation.
100%. Like, I think people are a bit confused about, especially Instagram, like, because Instagram appears to be a platform on which you get rewarded for posting like sexy selfies and like popping champagne and all that crap, right? Which is true, right? You will get followers, like, if you're best at that game. That is undeniably true. But when I see actors doing duck faces and trying to build a career on aesthetic because that's them confused about how the platform works, it frustrates me because, like, if you're a model and that's what your thing is, brilliant. Like, great. Instagram is great for that. But 99% of us are just human beings. Flip the camera on yourself, talk passionately about what you're doing, where you're going, why you're doing it, build a narrative, and don't stop worrying about what your fucking makeup looks like. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Be you. It doesn't matter what you look like.
I know.
What we care about is who you are. You know, it's just so, man, it just frustrates me.
I think a lot of people put a lot of barriers in front of themselves. And
of course, it's incredibly scary, and it feels ridiculous. The first time you flip that camera on yourself, you're like, this is the, why would anyone want to watch me? Like, what's interesting?
It was the same when I did my first episode of this.
Oh, mate.
You know, and I
bet you were just like, what am I doing?
And I was like, why? Leading up to that minute when I pressed the button, there was just an hour of like self-doubt. You know, it's just like, why would anyone listen to me? What have I got to say? But these are just things.
How does it feel now?
Like you say, like you start to, the more I do it, the more I figure out what I'm good at and what I like to talk about, and then how I can approach an
Have you honed in on your way of doing it?
Not yet. I know it's a work in progress, and I know I will get there. It's just practice. You know, some people have the friends there already for the amount of downloads, and some people have the content or a sort of an idea, like a sort of shtick they do with their podcast. But I know it's just going to be steady hard work with me, you know, and that I'm getting there. You know, I know there's steps that I'm doing to get to where I want to be with it, and then I'll go to another step after that.
But that's what's so good, man. Like, I always say to people, like, if people are like, oh, no one's gonna watch or whatever, it's like, mate, get good while no one cares. Do you know what I mean? Like, to most people, I've just appeared out of thin air, right?
Today.
But I had a show last year that no one gave a shit about.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Do you think that's?
And I looked at it. I left the Fringe going, how do I win next year?
But that slight knockback. Well, maybe personally. But that drove you.
It was a month of being punched in the face. No one in the audience. Minus thousands of pounds. You know, and we overcame, like, just towards the end when it caught on. And I left going, I'm going to win that next year.
What was it you were doing last year?
I had a show at the Underbelly, another one-person play. The reviews were great. It's just no one knew who I was.
Okay.
You know, you rock up, and we were lucky enough to go into, you know, a good venue.
Yeah.
And, you know, which is a double-edged sword, because you lose at the box office when everyone else is famous.
Right.
Right. So it took a while for people to realize that the quality was there, and we boomed towards the end. And so I was like, right, I need to carry on this momentum and go fully into this form.
Right.
And that's where it all kind of like...
So you learned a lot from it.
Oh, man. But isn't that just what we're doing?
Some people don't. Some people do the same things over and over again.
There's just no time for feeling sorry for yourself. I've wasted too many years feeling sorry for myself and being bitter. Like, I believe in my talent, but for so long I was like, why is nobody giving me an opportunity? And it's like, well, who and what opportunity? You don't even know.
Yeah.
You just you're just overcome with injustice. You know?
But that's... makes people struggle a lot, that fear, and that
it's a waste of everyone's energy.
It's easier to blame other people than to realize that you're not
you
doing it
yourself.
Honest.
You have to get honest with yourself.
Yeah.
Like the idea that like maybe you aren't getting it because like it's not, you shouldn't be doing this thing, or like that's tough, man.
Mm-hmm. But you should just, I don't know. It's easy for us to sit here and tell people what they should and should do.
Oh yeah,
because fear can be sort of. I mean, we've all felt fear. And
the other side of that is, like, when I speak to actors who are like just starting off, I just say like, do everything, like dabble in everything, and give it all enough time to know if, because like I was rubbish at acting, but I learned very quickly, you know, and so if I'd have not given it that time of day, I might not have figured out, you know, what my thing was. So like I think dabbling, especially when you come out of drama school, is absolutely necessary. You know,
to sort of figure out
to hone in on the thing, the area that you can build a business around. Because the thing is, like, when I have the sort of leverage where I can fill 1,000-seat theaters like that, I can do whatever I want because I literally have a monetary value.
And if you've built that yourself without any exterior help,
without anyone,
you know, it's just you and your phone.
No one's getting a cut.
It's you and your phone.
Me and my phone. That's it. That's it, man.
And that's an hour and 50 minutes we've done. So
wow,
I know you've
it's flown by. Like it's been so nice to.
I know you've got to shoot off.
I do.
But I usually end the podcast with new people that have come on. I just ask a few questions.
Oh yeah.
Just your favorite book of all time, or one that you've read recently.
Do you know what? This is going to be so shocking to you.
The Bible.
No.
The Hungry Caterpillar.
The Secret. No.
The Secret. The Secret.
I really can't read books.
Right.
It sounds absolutely ludicrous.
Are you an audio book type of a guy?
Neither, man.
Okay.
Like, I just, sitting down and reading a book, it just doesn't sit well with me. Like, throughout school, throughout university, I literally didn't own a book.
Right.
And like,
yeah.
I gather knowledge.
Yeah.
But books is my brain's not having it. And then every time I say that, someone goes, well, you're not reading the right books. I'm like, you don't understand.
It's just some people are built that way, though.
I tell you what, I can read all day scripts.
Right. Really?
Because it's dialogue.
Okay,
and for some reason,
it
my brain's
engages
like,
your brain.
But books, novels, things like that, I'm just like... Or the only books I can read is books that are very, very short chunks.
Okay.
There's one series of books, I haven't looked at them for a long time, but it's... Oh, man, what's it called? It's in my loo at home. You see, that's the sort of books I read, where it's like a 2-page chapter of an idea.
Like short stories? Or?
No. It was it's this guy who, he has this think tank, basically, and what he does every year or every couple of years or whatever is he poses a question to leading experts in every random field.
Oh, right, okay.
And asks them to write a 2-page essay on what they think the answer is. So, for example, it would be like, what tool would make the world better if everyone invested heavily on focusing on that tool?
Right,
just stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you get like...
I think I've heard of this book before, actually.
Yeah, so you get people who are like, you know, the leading guy in... dentistry, and he doesn't necessarily pick like his thing,
right? Okay,
So it's organized into like chunks of like these 50 people all think it's, you know, recycling or whatever.
Do you know the author or the name of it?
Man, it's doing my head in. I think one of them is This Book Will Make You Smarter, something like that. He's got a series. I think that's one of them. He brands them, but basically that's what it is.
Because it'd be interesting just to know. Is it?
Oh man, it's so interesting. So interesting.
Yeah, is it John Brockman?
Yes.
That's This Book Will Make You Smarter.
Yeah.
I'll put.
Trust me, mate.
Is that Is that the name of it?
I think so. There's that, and he has a bunch of them. There's like a load of them. I haven't read him for a long time.
Is that the one that's on your in your toilet? Is the one?
It's red, is it?
What is your danger? Yeah, it's red.
Yeah.
Is that okay? I'll have to read that one.
The other thing, the few books I do have, I get excited about them and insist other people read them and never.
Sometimes I give books away. There was one I gave away recently. I remember someone gave me, what was it, The Power of Now? Have you read that one?
No.
Eckhart Tolle. It's a lot of wishy-washy nonsense.
Mate, anything with a wishy-washy title like that, I ain't reading it.
It's not for me. You know, I base my things solely on this plane.
Have you read Gary V's book?
No.
That's a good book, man.
Yeah, and favorite.
I'm like Gary V #1 fan today.
You should have had one of his t-shirts.
I might have a chance to meet him actually.
Oh man, you're gonna be all.
So hopefully that'll happen. I've got a friend who works at his place, and I was watching one of his Gary V's video, and my mate was on it. I was like, "What the hell?"
So you were like, and DM'd him.
No, he comes to my plays, and I was like, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you should totally come in and meet him." I was like, "Oh man,
yeah,
that's happening."
Definitely. Favorite movie of all time, or one that you've seen recently?
Forrest Gump.
Really?
Do you know why? And this is going to sound absolutely ludicrous, but just bear with me on this. That movie was the first step in forming my view on my entire life, because it sounds so silly. It sounds so silly, right? I know he's got mental health issues, right? But I watched that movie as a 10-year-old and went, oh my God, you don't have to go and work in a bank your entire life. You can go and do this, and then this, and then this, and then this. And that has been my life.
Right.
Like, I've gone and done something.
Yeah.
And once I don't want to do it anymore, I've gone and done something else.
Right.
And I've had a fantastic life.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I remember walking around for a month after that film, just my mind was completely blown. Because at the time, that was like pre-internet, and like my world was very my mum, my dad, my brother,
your family,
and that was what life was, and it just sort of blew my mind a bit.
That is very cool though, because that, I think people do experience that thing where they go from thing to thing and don't do the traditional way of doing things in life, is get married, have kids, have a job that's 9 to 5 for 30 years and then retire. And I think people feel guilty for not honing down on that, and I think it's good to realize it's not a bad thing. You know, you're just experiencing life and having tools, and you can pick up and then eventually hone it in on something that you do enjoy, you know.
Or do the first one, and if that's your thing, that's your thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's just about being happy, man. Like, it's not about this person's better than that person, or like, oh, I'm cool. Like, it's just literally like, how do you be happy?
Yeah. in 3 steps.
Well, it's incredibly difficult, obviously, but
and favorite quote of all time.
Favorite quote.
If it's going to be Forrest Gump, then I'm going to edit this out.
Edit in my own voice. Forrest Gump. The box of chocolates one.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that favorite quote. Oh, it's probably the Steve Martin quote that I've got framed on my wall, which is "Be so good they can't ignore you."
Mm-hmm. That is a powerful one, because I've heard that one, and it is definitely something that,
I mean,
do you think
kind of can't argue it?
Is that something that's?
I think in 2018, that's possible.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was before.
Right. Okay. Like,
because of the pure volume of people that you can get the message out about what you're doing, and if you are that good, and you are smart and kind and empathetic and hardworking, you'll win.
Right.
I truly believe that.
That's cool.
Whereas back in the day, who knows, man? Like pre-internet, in the corner of, you know, some random place, would anyone know that you're the best piano player in the world? Who knows?
And that's some great stuff. If you want to just promote your show, obviously.
It's called In Loyal Company. It's at Pleasance Courtyard at 1:00, but there's probably no tickets left.
Okay, well, you might have to scalp some.
The thing is, there is a few. Like when we are sold out, there's a difference between a technical sellout and then every single seat being sold. So if you do want to come, just come down a few minutes before the performance, and they release like a handful of tickets that have been like saved for like important people.
Okay.
So you can get in.
Yeah.
But, you know.
Or whine enough on social media that you put extra dates.
Do you know what, though? It's something I've been doing, like, most days is I'll get messages saying, like, oh, I wanted to come, but I couldn't get tickets. And I'll, like, do my very best to, like, hook them up.
Yeah.
So, like.
That's cool.
If you hear this, if you've listened all this way through and you want to come to the show,
if
drop
you
me
stayed
a DM.
After the Forrest Gump bit, then you've earned your tickets.
After you found out that Forrest Gump was my idol, DM me.
And that's great, man. And I urge anyone to go see your play. You know, it
mate, I can't wait for you to see it.
You have a vision. No, I'm going to come along. You know.
Mate, whenever you want.
Yeah, cool. We'll sort it out when the show is ended, obviously.
Awesome.
Thanks. Bye.